Hey Kyle,
Yeah, Mason?
what's been happening recently, and why has it been 6 months since we recorded our last episode?
Because your voice acting is so stiff. Budweiser Blight has happened and descended on humanity. Of course, we can't say the name of this virus, or else our Lord and Savior, Susan Wojcicki, will banish us to the nether realms,
Like,
never
even
to
though
be seen
obviously
again.
it's not monetized or anything, like, it's still going to at least try to hide our video from
Great.
you.
Wonderful. I can't wait for our 8 view per video channel to be submerged into the ground, into the mud. Thank you, Susan. We love you. But seriously, it's been so long.
Yeah.
We already recorded this episode, but the audio got screwed up. Thank you, Asus Computers. We love you. We're doing it on Mason's
2008, decade-old laptop.
crappy laptop forged in the irons of Utopia.
What kind of core does it have?
I don't know.
I know it's a bad one.
This thing was around when saber-tooths were killing people.
So anyway, what artist are we going to do today?
Well,
You already read the title, but we'll say it anyway.
I hate it when YouTubers do that. It's like you've already read the title, but we're doing Soundgarden.
We're going to tell you anyway, just in case you're that stupid.
You're a dumb idiot, stupid idiot, and we hate you.
I mean, I'm the dumb one, okay? I only have like 2 brain cells.
I've got 1.5, and we will try to Soundgarden. You can listen to our terrible opinions. I can't wait. Soundgarden. What do you have to say about it, Mr. Mason?
Alright, so Soundgarden, right? I think, in my opinion, Soundgarden is definitely the best out of the big 4, which are Nirvana, Soundgarden, Pearl Jam, and Alice in
Ugh.
Chains.
Don't speak its name.
Although, if I had to pick which one should be out of the big 4, I would say Pearl Jam. I mean, I do love Pearl Jam, but I have a feeling that Stone Temple Pilots definitely deserve to be one of the big 4.
Pearl Jam was a blight on society. I'm glad it's gone.
I mean, Pearl Jam is still making music. I mean, they just released a new album like a few months ago.
Dang it!
I mean, of course I liked it, but
I can't stand his Alabama grunge sound. Damn you, Vetter. Damn you!
So, Soundgarden, if you don't know, was this really, really huge grunge band that was formed back in the 80s, right? And it
Pretty
was...
spicy.
Yeah, and it was led by a guy named Chris Cornell, who's also been in other projects like Audioslave.
That was when the folks at Rage Against the Machine were like, hey, you wanna
make a
be in our
supergroup?
band, Mr. Cornell Notes? And he's like, you betcha, metal man.
Yeah,
And then they make pretty good music.
yeah.
Sorry.
We'll maybe do Audioslave.
I like Audioslave.
Yeah.
Don't mind me, I'm eating grapes, and they make my voice...
They were legitimately one of the best
Muffled.
bands in the 2000s, but this isn't about Audioslave. This is about Soundgarden.
You were on a roll cutting me off mid-sentence.
No, sorry.
You
I have a habit of doing that.
Cease. Okay. So, back on topic. We got Cornell Notes, right?
Yeah.
He's up and young coming. He's got the curly long hair. He's got the bright green eyes, the dreamy smile, and he's ready to make some good music.
Yeah.
What does he start out with? He starts out with an EP named Frop, I'm pretty sure.
Well,
Frop.
it's 2 EPs. There's Screaming Life, and then there's Fop.
Frop, bruh.
And I know that some people would say that it's like their worst material,
It is.
but in my opinion, it's not as bad as another album that we'll get into. I think it's pretty decent, mainly because, like, at least it has hooks. At least there's not that many, like, filler tracks. Because it's pretty short, right? It's just 2 EPs just sprung into one album.
Let's try to describe the album to the folks. It's like a raw punch, a 1-2 hit to try to get you to, like... It's like if... what was the record company?
Sub Pop. That's
Yeah,
their
it's like-
label.
They're like, okay, we don't know what Nirvana is yet. You have to milk something else. This grunge thing is pretty cool. Let's get on it before Kurt fucks us in the ass.
I mean, this was back when grunge was very underground. You know, it wasn't really all that mainstream yet. Of course, until our boy Kurt Cobain and Little Drummer Boy and Chris came along.
And they rocked the house.
Yeah.
But anyway, so our protagonist Cornell Notes has formed a band with a ton of other wacky, zany characters who we don't know the names of because we didn't do. Listen, we knew in the other recording. We forgot. It's been months. We're tired. Leave us be. We just need to focus on Cornell. So Chris is like, okay, my first 2 EPs, we'll combine them into one and make an album. That's what they did. And gotta say, pretty mediocre.
Well, I wouldn't really say that it's mediocre. I would say that it's just decent. Because, again, there are some hooks. There are some riffs that are very memorable. Although there are some moments where it's trying way too hard to be like something else. Like, you know how bands are. Like, at first they'll try to be some other band that they look up to so much.
And then they define their sound.
Yeah.
Soundgarden hadn't defined their sound yet. It actually takes them quite a bit for them to get original. But they do it, and they do it really well.
And there's this one track from here, Little Joe, and it is obviously a tribute to like a lot of metal bands from like the 60s, like Led Zeppelin.
At the beginning, it sounds like road trip music.
Yeah, it's actually a really cool riff. I like it. But then Chris starts singing, and it is so awkward.
He's not confident with his voice yet.
Like, he sounds like a really awful impression of Robert Plant.
He wants to be Robert Plant, but he doesn't know that he's the best grunge singer right now. So he's gotta find it in himself. He's gotta find that the music within him is the friends he made along the way. And he hasn't done that yet. So he's stagnating and sounding like a bad impression of 70s metal. So here we go, I guess. And most of the album, or EPs, it's not an album, bruh. Most of it sounds pretty generic, in my opinion. There are some tracks that we won't really get into. Like,
I mean, there are some highlights. Like, I liked Hunted Down. Those actually had some good vocals. There's Tears to Forget. There's Nothing to Say, and like Fop, like the song called Fop.
If you don't stop cutting me off mid-sentence, I'm gonna throw you out a window.
I'm so dumb. Or
if
anyway.
you could even fit.
Do you have anything to say, or should we just move on?
It's 2 EPs. What more do you want from me?
So if you're like a huge super duper fan, yeah, I would kind of recommend it. You know, just to see how they.
It's not accessible.
How
though.
they were.
We'll tell you what the best album to listen to is later in the line, the first one, and then you can start listening and seeing what you like, because we have trash opinions. We are underdeveloped little gremlins. We aren't people. We're not real. We're actually robots made by CyberLife. Fun fact. Wow. We're controlled by like 5G towers or something. It's crazy, man. But we'll address that later. Let's talk about the next album,
Ultra Mega OK.
The title explains it perfectly.
Yeah.
It's Ultra Mega Mediocre.
Yeah, it was released in 1988, and oh boy, there's
It's got more filler than Naruto.
which is saying something. Which is saying a lot.
And this isn't like the Ninja Ostrich filler. This is like songs that I don't want to listen to again type of filler.
At least some of the Naruto filler is like, you can just point at it and be like, haha, that's so stupid. But when I was listening to this album, it's just like, oh, okay. That was a thing, I guess. I mean, there are a few things that I liked about it, like...
The worst thing you can be is Ultra Mega OK.
Like, Beyond the Wheel. I thought that the screeching vocals and the slow burning of the track was alright. It kind of had like a weird, over-the-top theater show kind of emotion.
Like a Phantom of the Opera really liked Black Sabbath.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the Dark Souls of grunge bands.
That just trope just needs to die in gaming journalism.
Stop comparing it to Dark Souls. You're not as good as Dark Souls.
And I think the reason why they wanted to have so many tracks is because, like, I have a feeling that, like, some of these songs try to have a more cohesive sound compared to their last EPs, but it just kind of felt like them throwing a bunch of stuff on the wall to see what
It doesn't
sticks.
have the same charm as their EPs.
Yeah.
This sounds like they're trying too hard.
And then there were a few times where they try to be funny, like, there's tracks called 665 and 667.
Oh, the funny number.
It's the meme number.
It's not the 420 or the 69. It's the 666, the evil number.
Oh no, it's the no fire number. Uh-oh.
We're gonna die, man.
We're gonna die.
It's all ogre now.
And, like, the closing track is also, like, a cover of John Lennon's 2 Minutes of Silence. Like, you could even, like, kind of hear them, like, trying not to move or anything. Like, you could kind of hear them sifting a little bit. Because they were trying so hard to not do anything. You know? Like, haha, it's funny because, like, it's just 2 minutes of silence. Look how funny we are, guys.
John Lennon did that joke, but better. At least he was original.
Like, there's not any... I think the main problem with it is that there's little to no experimentation at all on this thing.
They're just tryhards. But at least their next album was marginally by a little bit slightly better, kind of.
It was released a year later, I believe, 1989.
Yeah.
And this one, to me, was actually pretty decent.
I
think it's their best work in the 80s.
Still not great. Still kind of weird. Couldn't get into the mainstream yet. It's not there. Crack Cobain hasn't done his funny Smells Like Teen Spirit.
Although this was the year that Bleach came out. And I thought Bleach was pretty decent, too.
Do you remember anyone ranting and raving about Bleach?
I mean, like, not really, though, but it's decent. I didn't say it was masterpiece.
Only, like, little grunge babies who huffed their own farts listened to Bleach back then.
Remember back when Nirvana wasn't mainstream?
Yeah, those people.
I am automatically better than you.
The worst part is Kurt was one of those people. God, he was pretentious.
Was
he? Yeah, he was like, bro, the mainstream, man. But we've got to pick one. That's our challenge for this. We're picking one song from each album.
Yeah, we forgot to tell you that we were going to do something a little bit different.
We're trying to make it faster, quicker, more to the point.
Like, it's an easy-to-swallow episode. I don't want to go into too much detail about, like, like, individual songs. We're just going to talk about, like, the main emotion of that particular record. And I think this is the record where they started to kind of experiment just a little bit, with, like, the time signatures.
Yeah.
Like, for example, like, there's a 9/4 signature, they did 4/4, they did 6/4, 9/8, and even, like, stuff like 11/8 and 14/8.
Hard to practice, and actually, it's pretty skillful, which is why, while I don't like this album, it deserves a little bit of respect.
It's less focused on comedy, which is a good thing, because they tried to be funny and it didn't work.
Haha, funny poopies, la 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 la.
Although the production still feels pretty weak, but at least you know what Chris is saying most of the time, because, like...
God, you couldn't understand him in the last couple of things.
Yeah, it's way too muffled, Again, tryhards, with their last album.
But they're on the brink of greatness. They're almost there. They can break through, but they're not there yet. This album was... They're almost there. They're climbing up the rungs. They're almost to the top. They've almost made their good albums, but they're still stuck in boring mediocrity. And what is the album that broke them out of that trash heap that was being boring? What was it, Mason? Tell me.
It was Bad Motor Fingering Your Ass.
That's a little on the edge. Susan's gonna hate us for that.
Oh,
one.
no.
You're pissing off Susan-san.
Not the Karens. They're gonna kill us now.
She is a Karen. She looks like a walrus. She is the walrus. It wasn't Paul. It wasn't Paul.
Oh, no. A conspiracy theory?
No, but seriously.
Bad Motorfinger.
Great album.
Released in 1991. This was like...
It holds a special place in my heart. I love this album. I think all of you guys should listen to this instead of lo-fi hip-hop beats to relax and study to. Because where those songs will make you wallow in your own depression, these songs will get you running and hating yourself.
We don't want to be boomers, Kyle, okay? We don't want to be like, oh, well, all new things are bad, you know?
We aren't boomers. I like a lot of new things.
The main thing... Oh, what, were you going to say something?
No.
Oh, okay, so the main thing that makes this album so much better, so much more, dynamic, is definitely the focus on songwriting instead of the sound of it.
Yeah.
Because, the last few records are like, look how loud and abrasive we can get, guys.
They had catchy riffs, and they had mediocre vocals, but they didn't have any substance. But this one gave all those cringy slam poets something to look forward to.
And it even, put in a lot more emphasis on imagery in the lyricisms. Like Rusty Cage, the opening track, where you can kind of see, the dogs are looking for the bones.
You do not sound like Mr. Cornell
Yes,
notes.
I'm sorry if I made your ears bleed with that. Or the forest burning or something like that. And breaking out your Rusty Cage. So there's a lot more emphasis on imagery.
But Rusty Cage isn't what we're here to talk about. If we had to pick one song to summarize this whole album, it would be Outshine.
And why is this song so meaningful to you?
Well, I've got some personal reasons, but unpersonally, when it comes to just objectivity, this song has got a catchy hook, great lyrics, and you actually hear Mr. Cornell's voice not sounding like ass. He sounds spicy. He's sounding more confident, but it gives hope for his next album because he's finally not trying to sound like a discount Robert Plant that you found in the 99-cent bin.
I think this also was released the same day that Nevermind was released too, right?
Yeah, but
same day.
See, only one would really, really succeed. I mean,
it's kind of impossible to not mention Nirvana when talking about a grunge band.
People went to the store to buy Nevermind, and they had a few extra bucks, and they're like, okay, this Motorfinger thing, I'll take that too. Or they had a coupon, and then they really enjoyed it, but it wasn't stand out enough. It wasn't flashy. It wasn't show-offy like their next album, which in my opinion, and the opinion of many other people, was probably their best album. I know it's cliche. I know it's the funny Black Hole Sun one, but it is their best album.
That is Super Unknown from 1994.
And back then, this kind of stuff was unknown. Because this is original. This is like grunge redone.
And it's their best album by far. It is more diverse in tone and influence. And can we talk about the artwork? Because I love the artwork on this thing. It is so cool.
It's like an eclipse, and then it's a Mr. Cornell screaming.
It is so cool because
it's like his jaw unhinges like a snake.
And it's distorted. You can see him screaming with the lower half of the picture being an upside down black and white burning forest, and the band wanting to kind of describe birth and death and experiencing something that nothing about. It's organic, but it's cold and bitter.
Enough of this edgelord ranting about really cool artwork. We need to talk about music. And now, I know the whole 3 people still watching this are expecting them to be like, they're just gonna say Black Hole Sun is
or
the
Spoon
song.
Man.
Or Spoon Man.
Tommy Wiseau's theme song.
But we're gonna go deep. Mason suggested this one. I wanted to do something cliche. But this man's right here suggested something unique. This is not the best song on the album, but it summarizes what this album is all about. Now, take it away, Mr.
Now, this song right here, 4th of July. This song is pretty underrated.
Bad title. Not a good title.
I have no idea why it's called 4th of July. I mean, it's about taking LSD. What does taking LSD have to do with
I've never taken LSD on the 4th of July.
Taking drugs, I don't know. But this one right here has the darkest atmosphere with the crunchy bass line.
Crunchy.
Yeah, it's crunchy.
Did you just refer to a bass line as crunchy?
Yes, I did.
Jeez, man.
And the deep vocals that just makes it much more atmospheric. and it's echoey, and it even kind of reminds me of a much darker tone of something like Temple of the Dog, you know?
Yeah.
And it's just, it perfectly encapsulates what Super Unknown is really about.
Now, this song was obviously a breakout hit on release. People loved it. People were craving some of that juicy grunge, that crouchy bite, but what they got was so much more than just another Nirvana album. This stuff was great. Now, they had to slow down, and of course, after someone's best album, you can't have another best album. That's not how best albums work. And this one's lower quality, but I thought it was more upbeat and acoustic, and I liked it more.
I mean, it's not entirely acoustic, but it's still
not
very
entirely, but it's
experimental.
got acoustic in it, which was unheard of for a grunge scene. What's the last time you've heard a stupid Eddie Vedder go acoustic in his grunge days?
Something in the Way was acoustic by Nirvana.
Yeah, but that's not Eddie Vedder. I'm trying to rag on Eddie Vedder more. I'm trying to get my hate boner out for Mr. Man. Him. I hate him. He's evil. He killed my dog.
And this album that we're talking about is Down on the Upside, which was released in 1996, I believe.
Okay, sorry for rambling too much. We're just trying to have fun.
And this one right here is more experimental, even more than Super Unknown, that I would say. And considering that it's less heavy and it's more focused on the melodies and lyrics rather than the main riffs. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely.
Like, it feels much raw when it comes to production due to the band producing the album themselves rather than, like, you know, the typical professional producer.
Yeah.
They took a break from the dark subject matter, and I would also say that it's their most mature album to date. Same goes for the next album after this.
Yes, Down on the Upside 2, Electric Boogaloo. But we'll talk about that later.
Like, there's some punk rock influences on some of the tracks, too, and, you know...
But we've got to choose one song that defines this crispy, nice album that, while lighter in tone, was no more bad than any of their other albums. I really liked it. I choose Blow Up the Outside World. I know people are like, but that's the mainstream ones. Everybody likes that one. Well, it encapsulates this album perfectly. It gives it such a defined tone. It's kind of... It's somber but determined. It's like... kind of scuffed, but it still has that positive light to it. I like it. I think it's a great song.
I have a feeling that I might be the only person who has to say that it has some blues influence in the verses a little bit. At least when it comes to like the vocal style, you know. There's a combination of acoustics and it goes full blown with the electric guitar, and it's a bit more aggressive sound wise, at least when compared to other songs on here. But if you want something that's a bit more experimental, but not as heavy, I think this one is the album for you.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
And this was their last album for quite a while. And they broke up after the release of this album.
They went off to do other things, like wallow in their own self-pity and make different kinds of weird experimental bands.
Like, I think the reason why they broke up is because probably creative differences on what to do next.
Maybe they were just done.
Or, yeah, probably burnout too. If you want to know what they did after the first breakup was, Chris Cornell released 3 solo albums, and of course
they were really good.
Yeah, they formed Audio Slave too.
If you want to hear about their Mr. Cornell's solo albums, comment it below, and I can do something on that, because I've listened to all 3, and I think they're great.
If you want us to do an Audio Slave episode, comment down below too, because I really want to talk about Audio Slave. The guitarist Kim Thayil joined a one-off band called the No 2 Combo and worked on a bunch of other stuff, like Dave Grohl's spin-off project, Probot.
Yeah,
there's a weird solo project, well, not a solo project, but like just a weird side project that Dave Grohl was working on.
Ah, dang, little drummer boy.
And the drummer, Matt Cameron, founded the band Wellwater Conspiracy. They helped out with Smashing Pumpkins with Adore.
Pumpkins.
I know, my voice is dumb.
Oh, I didn't like Adore.
And he also became the drummer for Pearl Jam for a while before Soundgarden came back. And the bassist, Ben Shepherd, also joined Waterwell. But a little bit quickly. He worked and toured with Mark Lagnan and joined the band Hater as well.
Yeah.
But then, something happened in 2010. The band finally reunited and released 2 new singles. Black Rain for Metalocalypse. Have you heard of the show Metalocalypse?
No.
It's basically a bunch of guys from this... think of a metal convention if it was an entire planet. And then going to Earth, and them, just kind of goofing around. There's this one scene where, they're like, oh, what is this place? Oh, I believe they're called food libraries. They're, in a grocery store. Because, in their planet or whatever, they just kind of break in and just take stuff, But here, it's all, all nice or whatever. I've heard it's a pretty funny show, although I haven't really watched it myself. And they also made Live to Rise, another song that was featured on the first Avengers movie, which I didn't even know that Soundgarden made a song for the first Avengers movie.
That's crazy.
I didn't even hear it. I think I need to rewatch it.
I didn't know that until Mason just said it. And he said it on the episode that got scrapped, so that's crazy.
So that was pretty cool.
But then they made Down on the Upside too. Oh, I'm sorry. Down on the Upside, percussion not included.
This one, King Animal, released in 2012. And yeah, Down on the Upside 2 was a pretty accurate title for this one. And even though this album didn't really do that many things new, they still were in their comfort zone, and they did a pretty good job of doing that. It was the first album since the breakup, of course, and is
the last album since the breakup. Yeah. And they can no longer get back together because, unfortunately, Mr. Chris Cornell committed suicide the day after my birthday, which sucks because they were kind of making an album and they were halfway done.
But let's talk about at least one song from this.
Oh, definitely. How about the last song?
This one's my personal favorite, Rowing, because this one kind of has It
reminds me a lot of Blow Up the Outside World, but it's more determined. It's just keep slogging, keep going, keep rowing.
It kind of reminds me of songs that slaves would sing while they work. Just keep on rowing, just keep on going.
Yeah.
And it's kind of trudging along, and there's even this.
It's got the line. Hiking up the mountain kind of vibe.
It's a good example of imagery on this album.
But yeah, as we said, unfortunately, Chris died. The other band members are doing their own thing. And Soundgarden has slipped into obscurity. Which is sad because I really like this band. Everybody really likes this band. But it wasn't Nirvana, so people don't care as much. But we care. And we hope you care.
But we have some good news. Because guess what?
Good news?
Ever since their breakup, they have actually tried to get the recordings from the then new album from 2016 to release to the public and try to shape it up a little bit. But right now they aren't able to because they don't have the possession of the demos, and they were denied when asked for permission. But
that's cringe.
But there is still hope that this new album will release maybe sometime in the future, because I believe they were about halfway done when they were working on this new album.
How about near the end of summer we do a special episode where we check up on all the bands that we've done previously and see if they've done anything new?
Maybe. That's an idea. That's pretty good. But then again, you'll have to listen to Gigaton. Oh, that's a spike right there.
That is an audio spike. That is thick. But I guess that's it. Before we go, though, we are going to tell you some cool COVID tips to get through this horrible time that we're in. Step 1, drink water. Oh, Jesus Christ.
Oh my God, you sneezed!
Yes, now you have COVID.
No,
yes, you're
I'm
infected.
going to die.
Yes.
You didn't even cover your mouth.
You're
gross. You are gross,
cucked.
Kyle.
Get cucked. Mason's gonna
Why?
die. Mason's gonna die. Mason's gonna die. Oh, that's so funny. Well,
you sneezed on me.
We'll never see. You'll never see us again.
I'm going to die, guys.
Mason's gonna die. I just gave him corona.
Rip in peace. He gave me the beer disease.
Rest in piss. Wait, did we say? Oh no, we need the Budweiser Blight. We're sorry. We're sorry, Susan.
Don't kill us, YouTube.
Susan, don't hurt us. Don't hurt us, please. Please. It's like Tom Nook, but worse. Okay.
So even though a lot of things are opening up right now, guys,
don't go out.
Just stay safe.
Stay
don't go
in your
into
house.
crowds.
Just get Dark Souls 3. I mean, just relax and play things.
Play Animal Crossing. Just
Yes.
do whatever.
But back to Corona tips. Besides me killing Mason. Step 1, drink water. Water's good for your soul. Water's great. Step 2, don't get sneezed on by your friends. That's pretty dumb. Who would be stupid enough to get sneezed on by their friend? Wow, that guy must be an idiot. Step 3, remember not to eat too many carbs. Hear these? Those are Ritz crackers. They're cringe.
Step 4, do not believe in conspiracy theorists.
Yes, it's not 5G towers. It's not bat soup. It was just some virus that's happened, and now you've got to deal with it. Step 5, vaccinate your children. This is unrelated. Just vaccinate your children. Please, I beg of you. Please, I beg. I don't want to get polio. Please. Step 6, listen to Soundgarden. Again. What do you mean you've listened to them 50 times? 51. Make it 55. Screw you, man.
I mean, they're a good band anyway.
Yeah. Step 7. Watch more of our cool videos. Or watch just someone better than us, like Anthony Fantano.
Or at least the videos that are a bit longer than this episode. Again, sorry if this episode is a bit too short.
Our best episode is Smashing Pumpkins. Go watch that one. Incubus was good too. Don't watch King Crimson. It's our greatest mistake.
Then why did you have to say that then? Now they're gonna go over there and watch it.
It's our greatest failure.
I wanted to do a lot more with this episode and go into a lot more depth, but we're just starting out after 6 months of nothing.
We're so tired. We're like swans. We've got to start with something nice and accessible, and then move into the 2 hours of cringe. But we're sorry to leave you off on a bad note. You'll never see us again. I've killed Mason. It's all over. I'm sorry if audio was scuffed this episode. There's drums in the background. I'll see you all never.
Alright, we'll see ya.